everybody. This is Dwight Peters from quarterwaters.com, the site for social entrepreneurs. Today with us, we're going to find out how social entrepreneurs are meeting the consumer's needs and helping them with their civic duties. Today with us, we have Mike Hannigan, the co-founder and CEO of Give Something Back Office Supplies. Mike, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Mike, let's get straight to it. Let's throw out some facts. $30 million in revenue and almost $5 million donated to nonprofits. What's the secret sauce? How is that happening? Tell us about Give Something Back.
Well, the secret sauce is that we have a business that sells office products, office furniture, office printing, a whole line of products that offices buy. We sell it competitively, price-wise, service-wise, everything else. So we're experts in this business, and we're in a marketplace where customers continue to buy our products, and we make a profit. So the secret sauce is the fact that our profit goes to the community through a donation process to nonprofit organizations rather than as a reimbursement in some way to owners or stockholders. So this is a business model that's familiar to some people through the Newman's Own Food Company, which has been around for 25 years. So if you buy Paul Newman's spaghetti sauce or salad dressing, any of those products, you get a good product for a fair competitive price. And the interesting thing about that is if you look at the big sticker on the front of the bottle or the can, it says all the profits from your sale are donated to a national charity. It didn't cost you any more. You didn't have to suffer any inconvenience. The result of your sale is that the profits went to the community rather than the stockholder. So that's our business model, and we've been doing it for 20 years. And before that, we learned how to do it for 15 years before that, so we were successful.
You learned how to do it for 15 years before that. Mike, where did it... Take us back. So the inspiration came from Paul Newman's concept. You found a proven concept that worked. Take us back to the beginning days. What were some of the first things you and your co-owner, Sean Marks, did to get this up and going?
Okay, so I guess let me go even farther than that, how I even got into business, because I got into business kind of accidentally. I was one of those people who went to college in the 60s and the 70s and I was on a scientific track. I was a math and science major at UC San Diego, but I happened to drop onto the college campuses at a time during the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement. So somebody who went to the campuses at that time was confronted with all kinds of social action that you could participate in or not participate in based on your choice. And I was one of those kids who was interested in it, and it kind of stamped me for the rest of my life. So from 1970, when I went to college, till today, social action, social service has always been a part of my life. So, and I came into the business world accidentally. I went to graduate school at business in criminology. My undergraduate degree is in philosophy. So, but at a certain point in my life, I had my first child and I needed a job. And I went to the placement center at the school at UC Berkeley, and I took a job as a clerical agent at a place called Xerox Corporation, which was kind of the Google of its day, very progressive, kind of a monopoly, very successful. It was a great place to learn business. So I had two lives. I had my business life where I'd go and make a living at my job, and I was very good at it. And then I had my after-hours life where I would go do my social activism. And, back then it was protesting U.S. foreign policy in Nicaragua or Guatemala or somewhere like that. So I had these two separate lives. But I became skilled in business, not because that's what was important to me other than making a living. It was just kind of, I had accidentally accumulated these skills. And then a point came in 1990 when the company I was running at the time was bought by a multinational corporation, currently called Icon. And I had a choice to make. And the choice that I made is I wanted to get back into community service, but I didn't want to give up all the financial sacrifices that are benefits that I'd learned as a successful business person. So I found this model accidentally, and it was through shopping that I was looking for dinner that night, and, spaghetti sauce was usually on the menu. So one of the spaghetti sauce options had this big sign on the front that said all the profits from this product are donated to charity. So the light bulb went on for me as somebody who understood what it takes to compete very aggressively in a marketplace where competitors are trying to take your customers, you're trying to take theirs based on the best offering to the customer. Here was a business model that attracted me as a customer and benefited the company and directly benefited the community at the same time. So I said, wow, this is a business model that would work in the industry that I'm the expert in. So I had a business partner who had a complementary set of skills. Sean Marks, a very good sales marketing person. I'm better at operations and finance. And so the two of us decided to start up a company based on our business experience that we had developed over years of competitive struggle in the office products industry. And we felt we could do that successfully, taking care of customers, except we wanted to do it in the Newman's own way. So where the profits, instead of going to the owners, went to the community. So that was 1991. And we were fortunate enough to be able to build a business plan that was achievable within the capital constraints that we had. I mean, I threw $20,000 into the capital pot, and Sean threw $20,000 into the capital pot. So our whole company started with $40,000, which is all the money me and Sean could scare up at the time. So we developed a just-in-time inventory situation, so we didn't have to buy inventory. Sean would go out and sell stuff. I would deliver the stuff. I'd send the bill and collect the stuff, the money for the stuff, and then 20 years later, we're selling $30 million worth of merchandise, and every year we're growing.
That's great.
So, it's all been done taking care of customers, giving customers what they need to be successful. We're a business-to-business company. The only difference is that the beneficiary, the profit, goes to the community rather than the stockholder.
So that's great. So you took the experience that you learned at Xerox, because that's what you guys do, sell, sell copiers, printers, et cetera, et cetera. And then you were able to mesh it with your social activism. But instead of creating a company that has a gives back at the end of the year or whatever, this is actually embedded in the DNA of your company. How important now? You grew up, you went to college in a great time to be able to witness so many different struggles, so many different protests. How is it that an activist becomes a social entrepreneur? That's almost
it's counterintuitive.
Hard to imagine, especially when you come from a protester background.
Right. I think it's much easier to imagine
as
now.
A weapon. Yeah, speak on that.
I think but your point is well taken. When I started out, when I was in college, I was somebody who was involved in kind of social movements and stuff. I didn't have anybody in my social activist peer group that would ever have considered business as a legitimate career path. I mean, it was perhaps a career path to make a living, but if in order to realize your interest in social justice or social equity or social service, business was not a career path that loomed on the horizon. We were going to be lawyers, we were going to be sociology teachers, we were going to go into philanthropy or politics or nonprofit work, but business was something entirely different. But that has changed. I mean, I speak a lot at business schools now, and you cannot go to a graduate business program or even undergraduate business program and not be surrounded by students who are there specifically, intentionally, to learn business as part of a career tool to accomplish something beyond just financial goals, but social goals. So now you have activists going into and out of the business schools to learn the business skills, because it's the fact of the matter is that business is the principal institution in America that is primarily responsible for the creation and the distribution of wealth. So, and our business model is kind of a wealth redistribution model. I mean, our goal is to distribute the wealth in a more fair and equitable way, and then have the organizations that are working in the communities use the resources to fix communities. So, but every company has a business model that donates its profit. So people ask us, well, how can you have a successful competitive business that gives its profit away? The fact of the matter is, Staples gives its profits away. Office Depot gives its profits away. Eventually, those profits go to the owners, the stockholders.
Exactly.
They don't get stored in a mattress at corporate headquarters underneath for a rainy day. They eventually go to some stakeholder. We don't give the payroll away. We don't give the mortgage payment away. We don't give the electrical bills away. We give the profit. That's what's left over after all the bills are paid and all the investments are made to grow the company further. So in that sense, all we've done is change the stakeholder, the private stakeholder, for the community stakeholder. And now what we have to do in order to win the profits is exactly what they have to do, which is take care of our customers better than they can take care of our customers. And if we can do that, the customer will buy from us because it's good for them. If it's good for the community, that's fine. Sometimes that's a competitive advantage. Sometimes it makes no difference at all.
Now,
the result is the same.
So now you guys been at this for 20 years now. How has it changed to educate your consumers? A lot of people will probably be under the perception that, man, if I'm going to buy from a company like this as actually giving back, there has to be some catch. There has to be some fine print. Are they marking up the prices? What's going on here? How difficult has it been to educate consumers about your business about your business concept and to let them know that this is the real deal.
Right. Well, I mean, our business model requires salespeople, actual salespeople who are trained to go out into the business community and convince customers that we're a better solution to their problem. So there's a conversation that goes on, but it's an important, it's a difficult issue to deal with because oftentimes in the business consumer's mind, it's a counterintuitive proposition that there's got to be some kind of a premium price if there's a social benefit. So we have to fight against that. And frankly, our name probably doesn't help us much in that way. I mean, our name is Give Something Back. It doesn't say we're the lowest price. It doesn't say we're the best service or the best products. It says Give Something Back. So we have to educate the customers, and that's hard. And but it's less hard now than it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it was a completely alien concept to the business community. Now there are hundreds and hundreds of companies like ours. And also, there's been a cultural shift, I think, within the business community with a greater recognition that it's possible to do business in a way that is compatible with the best interests in society without a cost associated with that. So I think there's more of an openness. But also, we've been around for 20 years. So we have customers that have a 20-year experience with us. Yeah. And so, they know that they're not paying anymore for their office supplies. So we don't have to explain to them anymore. All we have to do is continue to meet their needs. And, they talk. Their employees go work for other companies. So, there's a gradual kind of increase in stickiness that happens in just being surviving for 20 years. But also there's a whole culture of social responsibility within the business world that has proliferated just dramatically over the past, I would say, 10 years. There are now venture capital funds that invest in companies that have some social benefit as the core organizing principle of their business. There are national organizations like the Social Venture Network, there's B Corp, there's Business for Social Responsibility, there's BALI, there's lots and lots of organizations that operate like the Chamber of Commerce does for the conventional business world. And also the laws are now beginning to change. There was a law passed in California 3 weeks ago that creates what's called a benefit corporation. It's a corporate form that allows businesses to incorporate stakeholders other than investors in their charters and have those stakeholders have some legal protection. So a company like ours, which has the community as a central stakeholder, is not constantly at risk by having financial interests kind of supersede the interests of our community beneficiaries. So I think we're at a time when the culture is pushing us forward, bringing other people's along. Also, there's way more successful business models, and I think people want, by and large, to do the right thing. And so more and more people are saying, wow, I can make a decent living in the business world and do it in a way that's compatible with my sense of, commitment to my community. So, there's still certainly many obstacles, but I think it's interesting. And this is I talked to the Newman's Own people probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I was fascinated to find out that they had recently done a focus group and found out that something like 60% of their consumers of Newman's Own products had no idea that the profits were donated to nonprofit organizations. No. Now, honestly, is that good news or bad news? I mean, frankly, I think it's kind of good news because people were buying it because it made sense for them, and the good stuff that happened afterward just was routine and banal.
Honestly, I had no idea that they actually donated all their profits. I did not find that out until I was doing research to interview you, that you based your business model on Paul Newman's model of giving their profits to the community and different charities.
Yeah, and think about that. That's great. You don't have to go out of your way to do the right thing. The right thing is done automatically by you choosing a particular product, unaware of the fact that all this good stuff happens after you eat it.
So speak about some of the work that you are doing in the communities. Speak about some of the charities that you do give back, and how do you give back? What is the structure for giving back?
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the more interesting things about our business model that other people find when they understand it, is that our belief, first of all, we live in a community that's incredibly diverse. Yeah. Just for example, you and I, we live in different neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods have different needs. There are different organizations serving those needs. So, and that's, you can multiply that times millions throughout the United States. So our understanding is that the community needs are broad and diverse. And there should be some mechanism to have the community itself be polled to decide which organizations are doing the best work to solve the problems that are of most importance to the particular community. So this is not your typical corporate philanthropy model where the leaders of the corporation, based on their sense of what's needed, decide how corporations support communities. Ours is a more democratic model. So what we do is our profits are distributed according to a balloting process that involves our customers and our employees. So, we've got 8,000 or 9,000 business customers. Some of our business customers have, 20,000 employees. Some of them have 2 employees. So we poll all those business customers and ask them, in your community, what are the organizations that are dealing most effectively with the issues that are most important to you? And so our distributions are made democratically and geographically. So, for example, right now, 15% of our sales comes out of our Sacramento regional office. So 15% of our profits are going to be donated to Sacramento organizations chosen by Sacramento residents who patronize us and who work for us. And that gets us deeply into all the communities that the money is coming out of. So it's really up to the community to decide what's important. And so it's not up to me. I get a vote. And you would get a vote if you're a customer, and then chips fall where they may, as long as the organizations qualify as nonprofit organizations and having a local impact. They can be national organizations, but they have to have a local impact in a particular community. So, and so over the years, the community consciousness has shifted. The last 4 or 5 years, as the economy has tanked, you'll see more safety net organizations like food banks and homeless shelters and battered women's shelters. Organizations that are dealing with the most critically vulnerable in economic hard times are getting the lion's share of the votes now. 5 years ago, animal rights organizations or environmental organizations got a proportionally larger share, and I think that's more of a sense of the immediacy of the community problems and what the relative hierarchy of needs are. And I think that's honestly reflective of what the community basically thinks. So I think that's a good thing. So the short answer is we're the bake sale that creates the resources for the nonprofit community. How the resources get utilized is to our minds best served by the kind of democratic polling of the community at large.
So you are one big bake sale for nonprofits, pretty much.
That's right. We use the marketplace to create the wealth and then distribute the wealth to the community according to the community's needs.
Talking about current matters, Occupy Wall Street. You see this going on all over the world. So many Occupy movements. What is your advice to these kids, man, that are looking for a different form of business in the world? Is social entrepreneurship something you will recommend them to look into?
Yeah, I recommend it to be added to the an expanded repertoire of engagement. So I support the Occupy movement. I don't support it when it gets violent and confrontational, because I think that's destructive of the unity of the movement. But I support it in the sense that it's a recognition of the fact that as a society we've drifted way too far towards two societies, a rich one and a struggling one. So the resources need to be distributed more fairly. And that's kind of our business model. But I also think that people who are interested in making fundamental change can't ignore business, because business is the central institution that results in the distribution of wealth. So rather than just kind of criticize business or fight business or regulate business, we need to control business. So people need to go out, learn what it takes to run effective competitive businesses, and that's kind of what I did accidentally for 15 years and what Sean did accidentally for 15 years. But now the accidental business people are now becoming the intentional business people who are activists who go into business schools and can control this powerful wealth creating and distributing tool, and to do it on behalf of a wider set of stakeholders. But it's so. There's a news guy out in the West Coast here that used to have this phrase that he ended his reports with. He said, "If you don't like the news, go out and make some of your own." So my feeling is that if you don't like the way that business participates in the distribution of wealth, go out and make your own businesses that do it in a fundamentally different way. But you have to do it in a way that meets the needs of the customer, and that's, I think, what's interesting about our model is we're just a hard-nosed competitive business fighting every day with Staples and Office Depot for customers' loyalty. And we've been able to show over 20 years that we continue to be successful at it, and many, many, many other people are now joining us. And I think that bodes well for the future.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why we started quarterwaters.com. We were student activists out there protesting, still do. But we wanted more. Instead of just criticizing business, we wanted to fix the way how business is operated. And that's why we're glad that we came across social entrepreneurs. And that's why we're glad to interview successful social entrepreneurs that are willing to tell their story. And not only tell their story, but actually prove that this is a concept that works, and this is a concept that could change a lot of people's lives and potentially make this world a better place. As social entrepreneurship is becoming more and more mainstream, what are some of the advice that you would give to our viewers that are watching this, social entrepreneurs that are ready to get their social enterprise going?
Well, the first and foremost advice is learn your craft. So, if you're going to be in the real estate business, you need to understand how the real estate business functions. If you want to be in the office supply business, you don't just wake up one day and say, "Hey, I want to compete against Staples." You have to learn how to do that by going to business school, by working at office supply companies. So, business is a very competitive, environment, and you can't survive unless you know what you're doing. So, there are no shortcuts. So I would say someone who's interested in a business career from a socially responsible point of view, learn the business aspect of it. And also be patient. I mean, I didn't find my path until I was in my mid-40s, frankly, or early 40s. So, I kind of putzed around without particular direction, and I accidentally accumulated this set of tools that became important later in my life when I realized how to put them together with what I really wanted to do. So, and that requires patience. So a lot of you young people, you don't have to make the world change tomorrow. Maybe 15 years it can wait as you learn your skills and develop the tools you'll need to make your impact. So, and also business is only one aspect of it. So I would strongly encourage people who see themselves as business people to don't forget about the legislative action, the direct action, the social movement action, all of these things contribute to pushing societies in more responsible directions. And it's not one or the other, it's all together. So, I applaud the people who are in the street making their views known to try to right the wrongs in the society, but I also applaud the people who've chosen business as their path and their tool to do the same thing. It's all necessary and it all should be encouraged.
There we go. Mike, are we leaving anything out?
No, I think we got it.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Mike Hannigan, the CEO and co-founder of Give Something Back. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks a lot, Dwight.